All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is January 28th, 2019. This is the Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Using Object Types in ObjectTrader. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we have, our live trading room or anything else, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. Bear with me a second. You should be able to see the screen. The one I'm going to show first off is our member login right here, because I want everybody to get familiar first off with the features that are on ObjectTrader. Extremely important is touch, close, touch plus, and close plus. Okay, and I've got a little JPEG down here that'll actually describe that for you. Let me just show you where it's at here real quick. Bear with me just a second. Okay, this little JPEG on the far left will actually go through. Now keep in mind that ObjectTrader's had a lot of transitions since then. At the time this was made, we only had a region, ray, time, trade, bar close, and sniper. Okay, we've got more than that now. So don't pay attention to this part as much as this right here. This is going to tell you what these T and B buttons mean. Okay, and it's really important that a person knows that, because that really goes that way with sniper. It goes that way with a region, and it also goes that way with wedge. Okay, so be sure and read this little JPEG, when you get a chance. And I'm going to go over some of this on charts and everything for you anyway. Bear with me a second. Also, this little JPEG that was next to it, be sure and go over it too. This one actually explains what type of trades region is, for instance. I've got little arrows on top of these boxes and below the boxes, inside the box, and it explains each trade like you would be taking it in detail. Okay, so this is really important right here. And, you can take any kind of trades with this little trader that you want, actually. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next one. And let's see, this one, this is actually using sniper right here, but this is also just like using a region. What I did with this little JPEG here is I made it where if you draw a box on your chart, whether it's with sniper or with a region, this is actually how a trade would be set up. This is using sniper line setups and even regions, assuming a 2-tick offset. Okay, now you can do different offsets than that if you want to, but long out simply means 2 ticks above the box or 2 ticks above the line if it was a touch. If it was a close, it would have to close the bar plus 2 ticks. You can also fire along inside the box. That's called an inside T button trade. You can also short outside the box or short inside the box. This is again assuming 2-tick offset. And then this is the same thing down at the bottom right here, where I use this one quite a bit myself. Long inside, like I'll draw support, and if I get down to support, I'll go ahead and fire, like a long trade, for instance. This one might have been more of a resistance at the time, but anyway, I use it for support and also resistance type trades. Okay. So, any questions on this so far? Because basically what you're doing when you're using the tools like this is you're using that T button and that B button, and you're telling it what you want it to do. Okay. Now, as far as anything to do with ObjectTrader, be sure and go to this little ebook right here. Click on it. Okay. ObjectTrader video book is what it's called. And each one of these little V logos is actually a video. Okay, so be sure, if you're not familiar with some of these, they're only 7 or 8 minute videos. I get calls all the time, how do I use a wedge trade? Well, the reason I did these videos right here was so that you could see how easily you can use like wedge or stealth or time trade or whatever. All right, using a wedge trade, a little video, using the T and B buttons with a wedge, a little video, using offsets for touch and close, a little video, moving the wedge while it's live, a little video, and add-on trades with a wedge. All of this is right here. Okay. So what we're going to talk about tonight, I wanted to mainly show you some of this so that everybody will realize that I can't possibly go over every single feature that's on Object Trader in a 1-hour webinar. It's just not possible. Okay, but these videos will walk you through everything you need to know. Okay, let's go ahead and clear out of this, and we'll go to a chart. All right, notice that I've got a chart up here, and it looks like it's going to be looking for shorts, doesn't it? I mean, if you think about it, it's even changed the mid-band to the red color. It's changed the ellipses, from the greens and blues to the white and magentas. So we would be looking for what? A short trade, right? So if we get a short trade, that's what we would do. We would actually, either box it in right around mid-band. I like for a trade to go above mid-band a little bit for a short and below mid-band a little bit for a long. That's the best way to use it. Now, let me go over some of the features on Object Trader. Go ahead and go into the strategy here. All right. Now, everybody does know that whatever you decide to do with the Object Trader, if you click OK and you wanted to go to your live account, you would have to actually click on this right here before you ever put it on your chart. There's actually a video on that, though, on the ebook, and it'll walk you right through how to put your live account on. Okay, but we're going to just use replay because, I'm going to have to go over quite a few trade setups and things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put Object Trader on. Now, the way we designed Object Trader, the very first thing that we designed Object Trader for was this right here. I don't know why we didn't just call this a box, because we always talk about calling it a box in a trade. We call it a region, but a region trade is just simply hit the insert button and the little box will come up and you can move it anywhere you want it. You can size it. You can do anything you want. There's a little swing that they haven't checked right there. I would kind of expect them to either check there or here. See this a little where they broke down. So anywhere in this little sweet spot right here, I would probably be looking for a trade. And so with being able to utilize my region or my ray or anything, let's see, where is the insert button, Donald? Do you have a desktop or a laptop? Because laptops are a little different where they put the insert key. On a desktop, it's usually right underneath your delete key. You've got a, I'm not sure, DW R-top something. Is that like a desktop or not? You can actually go to google.com and type in your model number, and look at the actual keyboard, punch in, where's the control key type of thing. I've done that several times for people. But the insert key, like on my keyboard right here, is just right above the delete key, which is just to the right of my enter key that's on the right side of my keyboard. So it's real easy to get to. Okay. Now, we've got several tools in here, though. You notice that we have a region, we have a bar close feature, we have the PM trade, we have the PM2 trade, the predictor trade, the ray trade, sniper trade, stealth trade, time trade, and wedge. Okay, and I'm going to try to go over at least probably the first 4 or 5 tonight, and then go over the next 5 on the next webinar. Okay, so we're going to mainly Uh, well, let's see. Tonight, I really want to go over wedge, though, also. So region, sniper, and wedge is what I'm going to concentrate on tonight, mostly. Okay. Now, what I was talking about these boxes right here, and these T and B buttons, because I get this all the time from people, like these are not just set. You can see this T button right here. You can change that from a long out to a short in to a short out to an inactive, which means it won't do anything, to a long inside at the top button. Then the bottom button, the same thing, short out, inactive, long inside, long outside, short inside, short outside. Okay, so any one of these can be used exactly the way you want to use it, and even done on the fly, by the way, which means you can change this before a trade's ever happened and even add on to a trade after it has happened. Okay, so keep in mind that the default on this is exactly like that. When you default, you're going to automatically go to long outside a region and short outside the bottom. So long above, short below. But it doesn't have to be that way. For instance, if I saw that I think I know where this trade's going to hit its head, I could actually do a short inside. Okay. I could even do a short outside if I wanted to. Okay. And I like retrace trades better than breakout trades. So see, I can even turn this off even like this. Are the trades market? David, yes, they are. Now, the reason they're market, though, is because basically for this to take a trade the way I've got it set right now, all right, let's say that I set it like this. This means that this would have to get within 2 ticks of the top of that box and roll over 1 tick to fire. So, for instance, if I wanted to try to get this at mid-band, let's just try a mid-band trade, see if it works. Let me look to the left to trade the right. There's a swing right there, too. See it right there that they haven't checked yet? And there's a swing right here that they haven't. They kind of checked that one, see where they came down and came back and then came down. So they haven't checked this one just yet. So let's try it and just see if we can get something. Now, what I'm looking for at this very moment is not a trade out of the bottom. You notice that I've got short inside set, and I don't have the bottom one set at all. Okay, because I'm trying to get, when Charles, for instance, in the room, or I tell you that we're looking for a mid-band trade, we're really wanting it to go to mid-band, or you would already be in this trade when it kissed this predictor and rolled. And we already missed that, unfortunately. So let's see if we can get anything at all. This was like 6 o'clock last night. Now remember, it's not going to fire here. It's only going to fire if it goes up here. Let's see if it does at all. See, it's outside the box, but we didn't turn that on. Now look at that right there. Is that actually going to fire that trade? Well, it just did. What it was looking for was touch +2. All right. And then as this actually comes back down, notice that it did this little wick. That's when it fired that. Okay. I can even turn this back on and try to get another trade and even box it. For instance, if it breaks out to the downside, I could go ahead and add a trade, for instance, like this if I wanted to. See, like that. So now I'm already in this trade, and I'm wanting to try to get this trade as it comes out of the box, like boxing it in. Okay? And a lot of times when you use this inside box, outside box, and everything, you just got to really think on the fly, so to speak, to know which button you're using. Bottom of the box is the B button. Top of the box is the T button. I've already used the top of the box, so I'm not going to try to get in again because this might go up, and I don't want to really risk 2 contracts if it pops up. Okay, but I might want to risk 1 more if it actually breaks this little box I'm drawing right here. But see, I can even size this on the fly. Like what if I want to break this bar or even this bar? I can actually move it in real time. Okay, anything can be done with this little trader right here. Okay, notice we're at 0. Now, Object Trader, you'll notice actually, if it says you're green on your trade, then that means you're up a little bit. If it goes white, it means you're break even. If it goes red, you're losing money on that particular trade. It always keeps up with your actual P&L right here. That's actually tagged to Ninja's P&L. You know, when you go to the Ninja Control Center. And then the chart P&L is just simply your trades that you've made on this particular chart without resetting Object Trader. Okay? Because if I was to reset Object Trader, it would go back to 0 on chart, but my account P&L would still be whatever it is when we close out the trade. Okay? Let's see if we can get anything at all. This is pretty slow. Might ought to turn that back on, huh? Didn't get it, but might get this one. See there? Just got 2. Okay? Now, notice how I did that. You know, I actually diagnosed my chart just like we teach in the room all the time. Okay? And this turned out to be a good trade. And you'll notice that Object Trader actually keeps up with your P&L for you. And we utilize this little box. Notice when you get in a trade that it no longer leaves those on. Okay? But if you turn this on auto, it will leave these on. So be careful with that. Let me show you what I'm talking about here on that. Let's just go ahead and take some coin if this even tries to come back against us. See how it's kissing support here? If this bounces off this predictor, we'll go ahead and get out of this trade. And by the way, you can get out of this trade by simply doing this if it comes back inside that box. So I could use that. This could actually head down a bunch for me, or it might decide to even retrace on me. So I can actually use this box as a scale. Okay. Now, so far, we've got a little bit of profit on it, but I could actually even scale out of this contract if it happens to just go above this resistance here. Or there's one to the side here. See it right here? Like so. And scale out of and keep my profit if I want to. Okay? Because we don't know if this is going to head down yet. Anytime they thrust down like that and they hold this support like that, that always makes you nervous that they're going to take it up a little bit more before they take it back down. And that happens a lot in trading. So we'll just take our coin if this doesn't go ahead and roll over here. If it does roll over, we'll be happy campers. That's fine. Okay? Now, another particular one you can use, by the way, is this one called PM. This one doesn't use the TMB buttons. Lightning is just simply to go from power meter short to long, and it would close me out of that trade. Okay? So if it starts heading down and stair steps down, this will never fire out. Okay? You can use that as a scale out, or you can even use it even to get in a trade as far as that goes. Okay? See, we're up about 250. We've got our power meter turned on just in case this decides to come on down to the bottom. But if this was to head up and turn that power meter green, this will take me out of the trade if they don't take out this low. Because and you'll see that in real time. You can also even use a wedge, for instance, and even take it off the chart. For instance, like this wedge. That would be my T button. And we'll go ahead and do a touch plus like 2 if it decides to break that trend line. See, so that would actually take me out of the trade, and I'd be flat if it breaks that trend line. Okay, so you can utilize all of these tools in your active trading, because you know when it's me mostly in the room because obviously it's my chart. So when I draw lines on the chart in the room, for instance, trend lines, horizontal lines, and things like that, those can be really good areas to take coin and protect your coin too, because if this does decide to break that trend line, I'd probably only have about $200 or so, maybe even 180, depends on where it breaks it. If it comes on down, then obviously I might have a little bit more. But see, I can even change this on the fly. I can say, you know what? If you even touch that trend line by 1 tick, I want out. Okay? Because keep in mind one thing, and I know Charles went over this really well in his webinar on Thursday. I haven't personally watched his webinar from Thursday, but I plan to. But I'm sure he went over it because I've heard him talk about this before. And that is that there's lots of times when you just get up, for instance, if this one trade at $240 is worth taking the money, the way that's starting to kind of not take out those lows, you can take the money anytime you want just by hitting close. But what if this thing drops 50 more ticks or 20 more ticks or something like that? That's where trend lines and things like that can come in really handy. Okay. Somebody just asked, could you reverse on that trend line break? Yeah, you can. You just do that. Now, I probably wouldn't do that, but if I did do it, I would probably go for like 8 ticks, something like that. You want to try it and see if it works? If it breaks the trend line, it would reverse the trade if I have RE. What these mean up here, by the way, and I know a lot of you know this, so it's a little repetitious, but it looks like it might do it. Long enabled, and if it's LD, it's long disabled. See where that's short disabled? Now notice that I've got R/E, which means reverse enabled. Okay, if that was to touch that one tick above that line, then that would fire to get out of this short, so it would cover this one and add another one. Okay, and you notice that I'm only going for like 8 ticks, so trying to get like $80 if it breaks that line. Now that would be a risky trade in my opinion, but I want to just show you if it does break that wedge, it will fire that trade. See if it does at all. It hit a predictor. A lot of times they go from predictor to predictor. Predictor, maybe even a higher predictor like this one over here to the left. We'll see. Now, usually if you get in something, you want to go ahead and turn these back on the moment you do, simply because that way you won't forget them the next time you do a trade. There we go. We got a reverse, so I'll turn these back on. All right, just in case, I'm going to protect this trade, though, with exit on close. Okay? And the reason for that is because, see, I'm still risking 8 to only get, well, we're trying to get 12, it looks like, instead. 46, 12, yeah, 12. So we didn't get our 8 ticks. If we want to just get 8 ticks instead, just bring your target down. See, it'll change that to 10 or 8 or whatever you want. Okay, let's see. On for a stop, otherwise wicks are, just one second, cross. Otherwise wicks are used. Well, keep in mind that if you're going to try to get any kind of a reversal to where you just get back up to a previous area of resistance or something, then what you really want to do is you want to put a pretty tight stop on it. We're going to let this see if this bar closes up, and I'll probably even move my stop here. Because the faster I can get to break even, the better I'll be. And we may lose on this trade. We don't know. We'll see. Let's speed it up and see. Maybe. And maybe not. It's a higher low. It broke a trend line. Let's see if it works. And by the way, if I wanted to, I could even add one if it happens to break PM to the upside. And I'd probably put that target just right on top of this other one if I did that. Okay, see how to use the little tools though? Now, pretty much while this is actually heading up like it is right now, I'm going to probably protect that at least. See, that's only a 4-tick loss now if I was to go back against myself. Okay, and that's exit on close, which means it has to close below that line. May get us anyway, we'll find out. Notice you haven't changed to green yet. May not. You'll find that these trend line trades are not that dangerous at all for you either. Especially if you like to scalp. Now, if I was to say, you know what, I want to just put this target way up here and just go for the gusto, no. No, what you really want to do when you're going against the trend is you want to figure out an area of resistance that they haven't checked yet and put your target right across that area. It looks like they haven't checked that one right there, have they? So I'm going to just go ahead and bring that target down there. Everybody see why I'm doing that? Because they haven't checked it yet. Now, does that mean they won't take us out? No. This is not a trade that you'll probably want to always do, simply because the best thing to do on this, instead of reversing, I was showing everybody how to reverse if you want to, would be to wait for it to retrace and roll. Okay, that's what you'd normally want to do. Now, if this turns green, we may be okay, but if it takes out my stop, we're going to be down just a little bit. There, we got two. It went green. Everybody see why that went green? See this little low, high, higher low, higher high? Took out that swing. There's a reverse at button below exit on close. Yes, what reverse at right here means to reverse at your stop. Okay, like for instance, if you put this stop, like say right around mid band. Let's say if this goes up here, let's bring this down a little bit because they haven't checked that right there. We'll see if we can get it. Okay, I'd probably protect my stop now at line 2, so I'm really only risking just a very few ticks at all. Now I'd go to break even. There you go, you just got it. Okay, now is this an uptrend yet, anybody? If you look at this chart, is this an uptrend yet? Where have they also not checked? They haven't checked here. They haven't checked here. And they haven't checked here. Looking at your lightning threes. No, they just checked that one, so let's take that one off. All right, so they checked that one. We've got a little sweet spot up in here that's called a phantom. We can see if we can get something. But now, could you actually look at this chart, though, and utilize the tools that we built to take a trade if this decides to go back down, for instance? And we've got the tools right here for you. For instance, we could actually do a trend line right now. Go ahead and bring it underneath those lows for right now, like so. Okay, and we could turn on a wedge. And since it's above the price, it would be the bottom button. And we'd probably do touch plus 2. All right, but as this continues doing what it's going to do, we can actually move this trend line too. It depends what it does. We're going to see if it's going to stair step up, if it's going to stay, heading down like it is so far. So far, this is just nothing but a phantom type trade that we're looking at. Let's see what it does. See, we've got the tools to actually take these trades, which is really pretty cool. Looks like it's holding that support, doesn't it? And you can change any one of these on the fly too, okay? Because to give an example, what if I just wanted to change this if this power meter goes back, okay? Or how about stealth even? Stealth is another good one. See, this is power metering to the green side right now. So what if I decided that if it does decide to go ahead and go red, I could actually take a power meter short instead. Let's see if we get something. I'm still green. Still green. Still green. No reversal yet. Now this is where I would have clicked the button already, but let's just try it on the power meter just for the fun of it. So you have a high, a low, higher high. Trying to get a higher low so far. Yeah, absolutely. When you see it hit line 7 like that, just hit the button. Because to me, these other type of trades are actually a little bit too late. But they'll keep you out of some of the chop too. Let's see if we get anything. It should if it closes below that right there. Now here. Yep, there it is. There it is. Everybody see that? That was actually power meter that went red. Now you'd probably want to get one target out of the way. You know, this is the trend, so you can actually move your targets out of the way. When you go against the trend, you want to pretty much scalp. Okay? Now, could you actually also box this in like Charles and I teach all the time too? Well, let's just take one off. Let's just say we only got in one of these, okay? Let's go ahead and box this by going to region, hit a region, got support over here that they haven't tested. See, they tested this one. They haven't tested this one right there. So if they actually go outside that box, could we add? Let's just do one. Let's see if it works. Now we're not going to go long yet, obviously, because so far you have a low, high, higher low, higher high, but they rolled at phantom. Okay, those phantom type trades can be pretty good. Like I say, I don't like it here as much as I like it here. This is my favorite spot to get a phantom, is between line 6 and line 7. That's actually closer to line 5. Everybody see how you can utilize these tools though? You've got a region, you've got a ray. What if I just wanted to take a ray trade? Well, I could draw a ray. You know, maybe along with midband or something like that. And I could take it a break of the box, or I could even change this to a ray or wedge just by simply clicking it over. Okay. Now remember, the only object types that take insert are region. And let me get this back over here so you can see them. Okay, region and ray. Okay. Now sniper takes the enter button. Let's go over a couple of sniper trades real quick. Let's see if we can get something. I'm going to just, we're not going to care as much about this P&L as we are about setting up trades. Let's just take sniper. Sniper is a horizontal line setup, is what sniper is. So what you simply do is you draw a horizontal line. All right. You change this to sniper. You hit enter and see how that changes the color of the line right there. Now, if I wanted to take a touch plus like 2 short, that's my B button. Because remember, if the price is above, you know, like just think of it this way. Like this is a box. Bottom of the box, top of the box. Okay. Anytime the price is above the bottom of the box, that's the B button. And if it's below the top of the box, it's the T button. Okay. So let's see if we can get something with sniper. By the way, sniper is just like region. Does everybody know that? You know, sniper can be drawn one horizontal line at a time, where a region, if you actually used a region instead, like so, you would just simply use one line of it. So in other words, if I was to use this like a region, I just turn this on like this, and it would go out the bottom of the box with like a touch +2. Okay. And I'm not even using the top of the box. So there we go. We just got it. Okay. Now you can also add with it. If this happens to go back inside that box and back out, it will fire again. You'll see it change to 4. See there? Okay. So, doing everything on the fly, you can do anything you want with Object Trader. Okay. It can be changed on the fly. It can, now keep in mind, if we got 4 contracts, we better watch them pretty close. You wouldn't want it to more than likely go above mid-band. Take a couple off if it does, and it looks like it's not going to anyway. Move your targets out of the way. Move one right at support. Move the others out of the way and just let it run. Okay? That's how you utilize region. Notice that I was able to actually turn that back on and still fire another trade. I could even do it again. This might be a little risky to do it here again, but could I also do it like this? We probably wouldn't want to add more than 4, and I don't think we got set up for more than 4, but if you did want to do another trade across here, like so, then it would be only if it broke that. And I don't think we've got more than 4 set. No, we got 10. We could actually do another trade if we wanted to. Okay. Little break below. What if it broke a trend line? It's kind of breaking that trend line right now, so the bottom of that box might be a good area to add another contract. But keep in mind that 4 is usually plenty, especially if this thing goes against me. I could be down 400 of that 800 in a heartbeat. Okay. It seems great to fire 4 and 5 contracts, but in all reality and everything, if they retrace on you at all, 10 ticks on 4 contracts is $400 retracement. Now, if it goes all the way down here, I'm going to be a happy camper because I'd have 10 more ticks or better to that bottom. But you've always got to realize that every time they kind of thrust down, they can also retrace back like to this line or mid-band real easily. So what I normally do is utilize more of a break and a kiss to add contracts rather than a breakout. Okay, see what I mean? That's giving a bunch of that back. Let's see what it does. Could we turn on our wedge on the fly even? Absolutely. We can even reposition our wedge while it's sitting there like that. The beauty of Object Trader is you can do all of this on the fly even. I can even move this live like right now. If I want that to actually take that, if that bar closes down, I can even take it there if I want to. Okay, because when I move that wedge, it's still looking at the line, the wedge, touch +2, and then it would fire another one if we get that. And you'll see it happen in real time if it does. And what else could you do? Anybody? How about protecting your trade? Wedge, little trend line, kind of go with the price just in case. See something like this right here, for instance. Could you protect the trade and take, say, 2 off or 3 off? Yeah. Now what's the deal though? This is my T line. See how the price is below it now? So I'm no longer using this line. It's not even relevant anymore. Okay, so if I wanted to take this off, I might want to move it like this, because if it hits this T button or this T line right here, it would fire the trade. Okay, because it's underneath it, which means that's the T button. I hope that doesn't get confusing because it matters which side of the line the price is on. Okay, if I was to bring it down like this, you would use this button to add a contract. Okay, if I was to want to say short the top of it instead, I might want to do something like that. Okay, now keep in mind we got 6 on here, so we're probably not going to go anymore. Matter of fact, I'll take 3 off if it even touches that that line plus. That's my T button, like that. Okay, that way I don't risk a bunch of this. Okay, so when we say box in, to give an example, in the room, does everybody see how you can use that box any way you want? The old object trader a few years ago, you had to actually hit enter, and then, you know, to set the box, to move it, you had to hit enter again, move the box, resize it, or whatever. The box can be done on the fly. Okay, for instance, wow, that's a good trade. See, the more the merrier, but you might want to take some contracts off. Could you utilize a little tool that we've got called bar close and take, like, say, a couple of them off if you happen to get a bar close up? Sure you could. That's the beauty of Object Trader. You can do anything you want. See, it's hitting a predictor right now. So could this actually go up a little bit? You know, or will it blow through it? We're going to find out. Looks like it's trying to blow through it. See, usually if they're going to bounce off them, like over here, they'll bounce off the top of them. When they go into them like this, they'll usually take it down further. Anybody have a question? What other tool would you like to see utilized? Because in the room this morning, for instance, there were some great trades called on oil. And this is even before our room even opened. This was more last night's trading right here. Because we talked about automatic stops on the last webinar on Saturday. Okay, you can put your stop at this stealth. You can put your stop at line 4. Engage it. See there? If a bar closes up, it'll take 2 off. See, bar's not even closing up right now. Let's see, what is what for, Jack? There's a reverse app button. Well, what the reverse app button would be, not that I would do it, but you want to just go ahead and reverse just so I can show you? Let's do it with one contract. If this were to take out this little swing right across here, and you wanted to reverse this trade, all you'd have to do is say, okay, I want to reverse if it touches that line. Okay, because that's reverse at stop is what that is. Now, I'm not saying to do that because I'd be riding this trade down, not reversing it, but that's the way it would work. Everybody see that? Okay, let's don't reverse it. This is looking pretty good to me. Let's see what it did. We'll speed it up just a little bit. Let's turn that reversal off. Now, could you reverse it, for instance, if they take out a swing? You could do that. Let's see what it continues doing here. I tried to build everything into Object Trader that a person would use in their trading. You know, it's probably not what I'd say is perfect yet. I want a lot more done to it that will make it even easier to trade than it has even now. You know, for instance, could I reverse it if it takes out that swing? Maybe exit on close and reverse. See what I mean? Oh, we got break-even trigger on. Oh, it's going to the mid-band. That's what it is. Never mind. All right, see how it's hugging mid-band because I had that turned on. If you're using an auto trail, you don't. There you go. That's pretty good, isn't it? Could I reverse it if it comes to mid-band? Yeah, could. Let's see if it even does that trade. Does anybody remember how far oil actually even fell in our room this morning? It was just a phenomenal day on oil. Okay, what if you got up at 2:35 in the morning? Okay, and you're seeing basically right here on this chart, this is what, 2:35-ish? That's 3:11 a.m. I don't get up that early by any means, but does anybody see where you might be able to get a trade on this? What if you hadn't traded all day and it comes up and kisses like predictor, to give an example? Could you take that trade? What says the team? You can utilize the tools, right? You can take the trade based on the tools themselves. Do you have a trade for predictor? Now, predictor, the way it works, you're looking basically like this is a box. So if I was wanting to take this, for instance, and that's the bottom of the box, I would have to actually do short inside, to give an example. Okay. And if it touched it, then I would go ahead and fire a trade. That would be like on predictor. Now, that one didn't get close to it. So let's see if we can get a predictor at all, just for the fun of it. See if we can get a predictor. There's a predictor. Is it going to touch it? We don't know. We'll see. If they time out, it won't ever touch them. You notice that I've got predictor turned on, but there's no trade. Still have our one contract in. There's another predictor will draw as soon as it figures out where. There it is. Didn't quite get up to it. Nope, didn't touch predictor. Not yet anyway. There it did, right there. See that? That's a predictor trade, by the way. Notice how all it had to do was touch that predictor right there, and it fired the trade. Now I would obviously bring my stop down. Okay, so there's all kinds of trades on Object Trader that we've designed into it that you can actually take. Let's see, could you use True Trend? Well, True Trend, Bill, on your question, True Trend, you're actually just drawing on a chart and then using the little indicator for that. You want to try that and see? All right, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do a new chart, oil, True Trend. We'll bring it up here. All right. Let's see, true, pretty much downtrend, isn't it, so far? Let's give it a little bit more, see if we can see a little bit more swings or something so we can draw it. That's actually pretty good right there for a trend, don't you think? See the little swing it's trying to make? Let's try that with object. Well, I already missed it. Let's see if it'll do any better to the upside. We missed that one. That's still a good one in my opinion, right there. Let's try Object Trader on that. Now keep in mind that True Trend is simply, basically what you're doing on True Trend is you're just looking at a trend line without all the colors on the chart and everything. So now I like personally to see the other indicator that we've got, which is the mid band and everything. This is a little untrustworthy for me, so I would probably add that. Let's go ahead and do that. Object power trend right there. Yeah, that's a lot better. See, now I can pretty much tell what I'm doing, don't you think? Because what you're actually looking at here is you've got your mid band, you've got resistance right across here, Okay, so they can't go any higher than this right here, or we won't be able to still head down. Okay, so let's see if we can utilize our tool. Let's see first off if we get a break and a pullback, or actually head up and check that line. Yeah, that's good. See a little swing right there. So could we use our little true trend tool or the wedge tool? I'll turn it on wedge. We'll get a ray. We'll get another ray right across here because I would probably want to buy this, sell it, if it even gets within a tick of that right there. Okay, so you could actually utilize it like that. Touch +2. Let's see if we get something. Can't go any higher than this if it's going to head down. And there's our trade. All right, could we add to it? Short outside. It would have to break the trend line. And by the way, if the trend line actually changes, I can move this on the fly. Okay? And I would probably put my stop, since we got in here, I'd probably put my stop at this swing right here. If it decides to go up instead of down, because that could have faked us. We'll see. See if it'll give us another trend line to draw this on. A little better. Let's see if we can draw another one. Still hadn't taken out resistance yet. See if that support holds right there. See it right there? Hasn't done a phantom yet, has it? We've already got 2, so we'd probably, like I said, put our stop just above this line right here, just in case this decides to blow upward instead of downward. Now, I would probably redraw my trend line if I wanted to add anything to this, if this will make a little lighting. But by the way, keep in mind that you can also use this little tool here. Let's go ahead and add 1 if it breaks that trend line. Well, we got 4. Let's add 1 if it does. That just added 2 because it jerked that line around just a second. Now, if it goes back above that, I'm going to get out and go back in. Like right here, I'd be taking some off. See there? All right, let's see if we can get it again. That's a phantom, by the way. I'm going to sell 1 at phantom. Go back up so that we can get a little trend line drawn. There you go. And we'll do that only if it actually touches 2 ticks below it. That's the way you can do that. See there, just got it. All right, I'd probably start protecting my coin now that it's tested higher. Shouldn't test any higher than that now. Okay, that kind of shows you. I still personally like the full charts though. See, because right here, that was a perfect phantom. See that? And to me, that's clean. Whoa, we're even the wrong direction because we had the reverse on. Remember? Let's go ahead and get in this trade though. If it does break, region. We'll do a region. Short outside. Region short inside. I already got it. And I'd probably do it if it breaks the outside of it. That's short inside, by the way. Short outside would be right there. That may have been the little trade that I actually got this morning. It is. I got up at 6. It is the trade I got this morning. But I got it better than that because I got it right here. You can clearly see if you draw your lightning 3. I'll show it to you. This is what I saw this morning when I was trading. It's that little swing. I had a line drawn there from way at 2 o'clock in the morning or so. See, all it did is kissed it and rolled. Tried to get me for a little bit because it rolled down to mid-band and then it popped back up right there, but it was still a good short trade. Let's see, is the 5284 an identified swing? Yes, to the left. Is that 84? Yeah, 84. It's kind of hard to read that on that red background. Okay, so far we've gone over, let's go ahead and make this chart smaller again so we can see these. So far I've gone over region. You can even add like on a bar close to give an example, like if I want to just add a contract on like a bar close, if this happens to close a bar and I want one more, see there? And then I can bring my stop to like mid-band. I can move my targets out of the way, take profit at one of them at a swing, just so that we've got coin in this particular trade. You can even add on another, well, it rolled over too quick. But if I wanted to add on another bar close, I could just by simply turning that on. And that'll add again, see there? I can take off if they happen to do a bar close up. You know, take one off just in case, see there? So I've only got 2 now. Put my stop just above the swing, and I'm pretty much at break even with a free trade. Well, that was close. They may get us. Got us. Now, what would you do if they just got you like that? Does anybody see another trade on here? How about a region? We'll leave that off. Turn that on like that. So that's how you would box in a trade like that. Let's see, what time will you open up the trading room tomorrow? Connecticut time, Chris. We open the room at 7:55 Central. You're New York time, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, see how I can utilize this little box though? You know, when we talk about boxing in, do we say to get in at exactly 52.70, or do we say box it in and get a break? You know, for instance, if this is going to go against me, I'd probably want to protect it. You know, I'm only risking 9 ticks on this trade, and I'd move my targets out of the way like so. And if you do want to add to this, you just simply turn this back on. Because usually when they break, they'll come back up and then they'll come back down through it again. That's what they usually do anyway. Not always, but as a rule they do. Let's see if they did this time. There's 3. That's a lower high. And you got your bingo trade again. Anybody remember when we opened the room today at 8 o'clock where the little box was? Let me show you how we traded that. I'll just go ahead and close this out. Let's put the indicator on from today. Template, load, power meter. It'll kill my object trader. Don't ever do this when you're in a trade, by the way, because that kills object trader, but you're still in the trade. All right. Let's make sure our indicator was set for time region today. That's today's date, right? So that'll draw a white box. So anybody remember that white box that we talked about this morning? You could simply be watching it, and if you get that white box, you could quickly throw a region on. Matter of fact, you could throw the region on now and just wait for the white box to appear. Or you could use a feature we've got called Time Trader. Okay. Now, Time Trader, what it does, well, let's go over it another time. I don't want to get everybody too confused. But Time Trader, what it does, will actually look for an exact moment in time with the close of a bar. Okay, like this, more than likely, what I would do here, I would go ahead and go short at that. See how it rolled into that box? Not now. This is a little bit late. Still going to get it, though, I bet you. There's your little box. Remember this trade that I called this morning on oil? You could actually just simply do it just like that. Close of the bar, touch of the bar, touch +2, whatever you wanted to do. Anybody remember this little trade this morning? This was called right here on this little white box. And there's your trade. All right. Could you add to it by simply turning on bar close? Yep. Could you add 2 if you wanted to, even on the fly? Yeah. Object Trader is just able to do anything you want it to do on the fly. All right. Let's see. I'd put my stop just above this swing. Remember, I also called this trade again when it closed that bar outside the box. Could you actually take that trade based on a region? Well, it's already closed, but if you did a region right there, could you clearly see that you could take another trade? This is even below the box right here. Well, we got 5 on. That's probably enough. But it'll add them 2 at a time or however you want it. Okay? That's some of the tools that we've got in Object Trader. Be sure and go to the ebook, and every single thing that I went over here will be explained in detail in little 5 to 8 minute videos. Because if you want to know how to scale out of this, like let's say if you wanted to do a bar close out with a couple of contracts, say 3 contracts. If that bar goes up, maybe I want out of 3 of those 5 contracts. If that bar goes up, I'll be out of those 3. If it goes down, see there, I'm in 2. Now I'm only in 1, and we'll keep trucking. Could you actually turn on an auto feature? Every single time a bar closes down, it will add 1 contract. That feature is built into Object Trader 2. That's called Auto Trader. See there, that's 3. And 4. That's 5. That's 6. That's 7. I can start closing out of them if I happen to get retracing a little bit. Say take 3 of them off if the bar closes back up. And I even added when the bar went down. Turn that back on and I would take like 5 off, for instance. You could do all of this just on the fly. Play with it, in sim and everything and get used to how it operates. And you could be a pro with it in no time because it's quite a tool. This little tool can make you a lot of money. Let's see, when you open the Object Trader box, why does it show up over on the black chart? You're talking about, it didn't show up on the black chart, did it? Shouldn't. Oh, you mean the trade itself? That didn't even do it, did it? You'd have to, I'm not sure what you're asking on that, Kenneth, but click on the down arrow on object type. Oh, this is something to do with my monitor, because normally on my other computers, this will be right here instead of over here. But this is this box right here. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, it's something to do with this 30-inch Dell monitor. It's one of the older ones, and it takes what they call the dual DVI input on it. And ever since Ninja did their last update, that's where this thing's been showing up. That's why I have to make it smaller, because if I do it like this, you won't even see it. It's way over here on my other monitor on my right. Okay, so that's just a quirk on my monitor is all that is. Anybody have any questions on object types? We designed this purposely to be able to take box trades, bar close, get in, get out, scale in, scale out. PM, for instance, if this was to go, well, it's already gone green, so you could have taken some off. But what if it goes red and you want to add some more? It just did. See? So there's all kinds of ways to use this little tool right here. I'd probably bring my stop right along in here. If anybody remembers this trade this morning, this was called in real time. I had said that the best trade was right here, but we got even this trade right here for a lot of people, and a lot of people took this trade, and it turned out to be a monster. Okay? Does anybody have any final questions before we wrap? Try to make those tools as good as possible so that everybody can utilize them. I do want to add some things to Ninja 8, and I'm open to any ideas anybody has. Like if you want, trailing stops that, like for instance, if I've got 5 contracts, maybe I want, 5 different stops along in here. Something like that. Yeah, those are some things that I plan on adding, hopefully. Got to get the panel built first, though. My programmer has actually even hired a Ninja guy to help get this new panel in Ninja 8 to where it'll size and everything the way it's supposed to, like with, Apple products and, all the different cell phones and things like that, and iPads. That's what we're really working on right now. Okay? All right, I'll have this posted. Stephen, probably within the hour, and it'll be on the member site tonight, and then tomorrow it'll be on the webinar site. I hope this helped everybody, because, I'm not saying you could make anything like this. We've never made, claims like that, because you have to know how to trade, because market can eat you up if you're not careful. But I can tell you this, that this trade was called in our room this morning, and a person with a couple of contracts could have easily been up $700-800 real easily. Let's see. Can you figure out a better way to designate the target to be used when adding to an existing trade? Yeah, that's something that I want to work on too, Kenneth. I want to be able to actually, tell it like how many ticks that I want it. This, when we first designed Object Trader, this was the way, it came out. I'm not super tickled with this either, and we'll be working on some things on 8. Once we get the panel built, it'll just be a matter of actually figuring out what we want the panel to do. Because once he gets the panel built, anything can be changed in it. Like it'll just have like blank buttons and things like that on it at first, and then he ties the code to it. Okay? All right, we're going to see everybody tomorrow morning. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed the webinar, and we will do it for real in the morning. Okay? And I didn't even get a chance to show, but I mean, we called an ES trade that worked out great too. All right. Again, thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. David, on your question, is adding like that the same as chasing a trade? No. Now keep in mind that what I was trying to show there is just strictly what Object Trader can do. I don't even do that with my personal account. There's times that I might add up to 4, but there is, I don't know if I've ever done it, to be truthful about it, to ever go with like a full 10 or something like that by just keep adding, because to me that's averaging down, and you want to be careful ever doing that, especially when you're in sideways stuff. But what I wanted to show everyone is that you can utilize the features on it though, and make some really good intelligent decisions like this and get some pretty good trades. Like, could I actually just start a trade right here with, say, 1 contract with a bar close? Sure. It's just real easy with Object Trader. Since I got in late, I'd probably put my stop way up there for right now until I saw that this bar actually pops down, and then I bring it to mid-band, something like that. Okay? Yeah, you want to be careful anytime you're in multiples, because these little tracements don't seem like a lot, but from phantom to mid-band is 24 ticks. If you had 5 contracts in that, that's $1,200. Now, that would be monster if you got that with 5 contracts. But these pullbacks would be brutal. You're talking about $600-700 on pullbacks, $1,200. We don't recommend trading like that. Now, if you had a multi-million-dollar account and you could put your stop like above lightning 3 or something, yeah, go for it. But the way we trade in and out, I wouldn't recommend it, because a 10-tick pullback with 1 contract is only a $100 bill. But if you go adding a bunch to that, then that's quite a bit. Okay, let's see. At what time would you make an ES trade? I'll show that real quick. We called this trade in the room this morning. Bear with me a second. I'll show it to you. I do have ES somewhere. Well, I thought I did. Let me build a chart on ES. Just a second. Bear with me 1 second. Building an E. I didn't add my ES. Just a second. Thought I did. There it goes. I think my mouse is getting old. Bear with it just a second. Let's see, at 8 o'clock, this was our little box right here. If somebody boxed this in, just like this, not with a long, would you have gone long there? Not hardly out of that box, because there's your swing. So that was a monster trade too. This was actually a trade that we called in the room also, right here where it came up to mid-band and rolled over. How would you take that trade? Well, it thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. When did it start stair-stepping down? Well, you could pretty much see that if you boxed it right across here or even here, it was pretty much stair-stepping down. Or even a trend line on that bar. I think that's pretty much where I drew on the chart a trend line, if I remember right. But that was a monster trade. A lot of our people got that trade too. That was a monster. And then look what ES did after that. And I'm at 9:27 in the morning right now. Does anybody remember how Russell actually popped up at this particular moment? Does anybody remember me calling a trade on Russell? I'll show it to you. You'll see it real easily. Remember that trade I called? We had a line drawn on the chart exactly right here at the time. This is what it had done. And I even called the trade right here. Remember I said if you box this in, do not let it go a tick against you. Popped right out of the box. Never felt even a tick of heat. But then we got the pullback and we got that next monster run. Everybody remember that? And you can utilize that with these tools. Boxing in a trade, trend lines. For instance, if you saw this happening in real time, could you have drawn a trend line like this even and taken this trade like right through here? I called it right here, so this was a much better entry than this. But, this, for instance, if you boxed it like right along in here and took that trade as it went back above mid-band, yeah, it's a good trade. Okay, we'll do it for real in the morning too. Again, thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And, we're trying to make Object Trader the absolute best trading tool that anybody could have in their trading arsenal. All right, thanks again, everyone.